Today we bring to you an interview with an expert on INA role in Indian freedom movement.
Hello listeners, today in our program Notice Diary, we have Mairembem Sanjeev. He is a grandson of late Mairembem Koireng, who organized the INA operation in Manipur. Mr. Sanjeev has done a number of research work related to INA campaign during Second World War and also written a play on INA hoisting flag at Moirang. We extend a very warm welcome to you, Mairembem Sanjeev, on our show.
Thank you very much for joining this program.
I would like to come on my first question is that your grandfather, late Mairembem Koireng, organized the INA operation in Manipur. So please tell us about your grandfather and his role in INA in Manipur.
First of all, I would like to relate the important things that the Battle of Imphal or Imphal campaign is a culminating point in the freedom movement of India. That Imphal was the decisive target of Indo-Japanese forces in the course of Salo Dili mission, and on the soil of India, Imphal was the foremost in the advancement of Netaji and INA to liberate India. But William Slim, the then Field Marshal, tactically defended Imphal for blocking the penetration of World War through India. In the case of my grandfather, he was a social worker during that time, and he was the active member of Nikhil Manipuri Mahasabha. Formerly, there was a certain sacred message of Netaji to seek the cooperation of Manipuri people that the Imphal campaign was going to be on. Okay. So all the like-minded Manipuris would support the freedom movement of this Imphal campaign. That is, the Imphal is to be annexed, is to be conquered by the Indo-Japanese forces. So that message was entrusted to the one Kuki person, namely Lungdam. He belonged to the Samol village of the Technopol district. Then he came down to the Sugunu town, then entrusted to the Dr. Gulab San, the then medical compounder of the time. And then Dr. Gulab San entrusted the message to the Thoksom Ango, the active member of the Nikhil Manipuri Mahasabha. But that time it was very difficult to tackle the message because Imphal was totally under the control of British imperialism. So they have to do certain things. That means they have to resolve the matter that the Manipuris would like to extend the cooperation to the INA or not. So they need to hold a meeting, but it is to be conducted in a sacred place. So they decided to conduct this meeting in very far places, that is in Jiri, that was situated at the border of Manipur. Then the meeting was held. It was resolved that the Nikhil Manipuri Mahasabha would extend the cooperation to the INA movement and would like to exist as a part of Manipur state under the Indian domination, which was controlled by the INA, Azad Hind Fauj. That message was to be delivered to Netaji again. Then at that time, Kunja Bihari Singh, who related the things that there was some Buddhist monk in the Mahabali forest, so he would entrust the message letter secretly to this monk, then they will ultimately deliver that matter to the Netaji. That was the part of the espionage during that time. So due to the course of time, the 33rd divisions of the INA groups led by General Yanagida and another Bahadur intelligence group, Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik of INA, marched forward from the Tirim side to conquer Imphal, and then they started to fight with the 17th British Division column led by Major General D.T. Cowan, and then they fight very strongly, and when approached to this side to the Moirang, then the Indo-Japanese group pushed forward the whole British division up to Toronglaobi. Then that British column was at Moirang Okshongbung. That was the first battle. Then another part led by the Captain Ito of the Japanese division pushed forward again from the Toya Kokilborn of the Kumbi side. Actually, they drive away all the British columns up to Posangbam. But due to the advancement of the night time, the British has the opportunity to take the position at the Bishampur Hillock. So they took the good position at the Bishampur Hillock, so the advancement could not be proceed further. Afterwards, Moirang was totally liberated. At the early morning, Kumang Kanglen, the one native of the Moirang, came across the Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik and the Naki Ahmad Chowdhury, who was the Manipuri Muslim during that time, and he was an active soldier of the INA. Then they were asking about the M. Koireng Singh because he was belonged to the Nikhil Manipuri Mahasabha. And then they wanted to meet Mr. Koireng, and then they want to know whereabouts of him. Then after that, Mr. Koireng, Lefrakam Sanaba, Mainam Mani, and Kumam Kanglen went to the Tronglaubi Lobby came and met with these INA soldiers, and that time the Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik persuaded that they want to achieve the flag hoisting or victory at Moirang.
You have said that the Japanese force entered from the Burma side and they advanced up to the Tronglaubi area. So during that course of that struggle, that fighting, is there any Manipuri person who joined in INA or Japanese force for which region the Japanese are able to advance up to the Tronglaubi?
Actually, this is what I want to mention particularly, that the Naki Ahmad Chowdhury, he is the Manipuri Muslim. Actually, he was the soldier of the British Indian Army during the time of Singapore War. Then at that time, the old British Indian Army was surrendered to the Japanese government, and at that time the Naki Ahmad Chowdhury was also one of them. Then he was also surrendered to the Japanese Army. Then he was included in the 32,000 British Indian soldiers who formed the INA by the General Fujiwara. So Naki Ahmad Chowdhury is very active, and he was fastly joining Manipuri in the INA movement.
So far, the available historical record indicate that many people, including the tribal people of Manipur, joined the INA.
Particularly that Naki Ahmad Chowdhury was a distinguished one. So actually he was one of the person approached towards Moirang, and he came along with the Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik.
Okay, sir. My next question would be, we have heard that the Moirang have some sort of inseparable historical aspect with the Indian freedom struggle. So can you tell us why Moirang of Manipur is very important in the history of Indian struggle, and what was the impact of the victory of INA in Moirang on the Indian psyche?
You know, the Moirang is the first place. Moirang is the first liberated town on the soil of India that was announced by the Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik after hoisting the tricolor flag at Moirang Kangla on 14 April 1944. So Moirang, it was a very important place because it was the first town to be liberated from the British yoke during that time. So it is a remarkable place of the INA movement also, because this is the first place of India liberated by the INA.
So can you relate some other freedom struggle related incident happening in those time in India, which has been impacted by the flag hoisting in Moirang?
After communicating with my grandfather with these INA groups, then they persuaded to hoist the tricolor flag, bringing with the tiger at the middle. Then actually my grandfather consulted with the local leaders, local elders like Hemam Thamban Chao and Kyam Gopal. At that time the Kyam Gopal was the father-in-law of their late grandfather. So they decided that Moirang Koyangla was very suitable places for flag hoisting. And then house of the Hemam Thamban Chao, this is the father of the late Imam Nilamani, was also very suitable place for installing the INA headquarters at Deer. So on 14 April, the program of flag hoisting was performed with the assembly of 40-50 local people, because most of the people were fled away due to the war. Then after hoisting the flag, the Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik delivered a speech in English, and it was translated by my late grandfather M. Koiring Singh to the Manipuri. After hearing his speech, the people of Moirang was very thrilled to hear the news that Moirang, they were the first people, first liberated citizen of India during that time.
Okay, sir. My last question would be, India is celebrating 75 years of independence. So please throw lights on the contribution of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the Indian freedom struggle.
Actually, that's why I'm going to write the story which was not reckoned in the Indian history till yet. The contribution of Netaji and INA for ultimately causing the British to leave India is hardly explored or explored till yet in the history account. That's why I would like to mention about the Battle of Imphal. It's a very important, it's a remarkable place in the history of India, because after taking Netaji's approach, that won the hearts of the millions of Indians, even those of the British Indian soldiers. Although the INA lost the battle due to Monsoon Act, it actually brought independence in India, as the Battle of Imphal inspired the massive strike and the mutiny from the British Indian soldier, compelling the British to ultimately leave India.
My last question, tell us about your grandfather Mairembem Koiring Singh and other locality of Moirang. Apart from them, do you remember any other important freedom fighter who joined INA during the Second World War campaign for the freedom movement of India, and the role played by those our freedom fighters?
As a matter of fact, after sending the resolution of Nikhil Manipuri Mahasabha, means after getting the secret message of Netaji, that message, it was the resolution that it was resolved that the whole Manipuris would like to assist the INA movement. And actually, Imphal was the first target, and then afterwards they have to conquer Delhi. This is the important approach of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and INA. So voluntarily, during that time, according to my late grandfather, not only the soldiers, there are so many villagers and residents of the Manipuris that they used to give the contribution like food and pieces and some things, even the money also they donate in the movement of Netaji. So Kumam Kanglen collected the contribution from the masses and then gave it to the INA soldiers and the Japanese soldiers, because during that time their supplies are very deficient due to the monsoon. So at that time most of the Manipuris have given the contribution to the Japanese and the INA. At that time, they are facing many deficiency due to monsoon. They have many lack of supplies during that time. It was made up by the local people of the Manipur and especially Mairembem during that time.
One more question. If the present generation or our future generation would like to know more about the INA struggle and the contribution given by our forefather, how they can get the records and historical aspects? Is there any institution or any museum in Manipur from where they can learn about the contribution given by our forefather in the freedom movement?
That's why I am doing my research work, because Indian history does not properly account the contribution of the Netaji and INA. And I would like to mention that the Imphal campaign inspired a lot million Indians, not only million Indians, to the British Indian soldiers also. This was the most important factor to cause the Mumbai's mutiny, and that was the great effect to cause the British to leave India. So this is the most important thing. So actually I want to relate about the Battle of Imphal. It's a very important part, and because Netaji want to install the anti-British revolt in Imphal, if he can conquer Imphal during that time. That was his ambition.
Okay, thank you very much, Mairembem Sanjeev, for giving us your valuable time and an insight into the details of Indian freedom struggle taking place in Mairembem. Thank you very much.